Good evening. This is Jason with the National Weather Service here in Peachtree City, practicing our social distancing here this evening. Going to bring you a little bit of new technology we're practicing with using this video web conferencing that I have to thank my daughter for and her Fortnite expertise for showing me this. So thank you for that. But we'll take you through the weather for tomorrow. We are expecting some potentially severe thunderstorms, including tornadoes, to move through the area tomorrow, so kind of wanted to detail that for you through these next couple of minutes here if you'll stick with us. Right now, looking at the radar here, and we can zoom in, we're just seeing some very light rain showers across the area moving into Chattanooga, and most of this is not even reaching the ground, even back through Alabama. A lot of this is not reaching the ground either. So nothing really going on this evening. It's all going to be tomorrow, the main stuff out here. And if I zoom out, you can see back here into portions of Arkansas and Louisiana. We have to go all the way back here before, and these yellows and orange indicate lightning. So we have to go all the way back here before we're even seeing any lightning. So it's got a ways to go. It's got to organize itself before it's going to cause any problems for our local area. But again, that's going to be for tomorrow. So looking at some of our national centers and what they're saying for tomorrow. So we can look at the Storm Prediction Center and some of their day 2 probabilities. The overall outlook for day 2, if we take a look at that, we've got slight risk across portions of central Georgia here, and you can see those areas from Columbus to Macon and then east across I-16 are under that slight risk. Up to the Atlanta metro, we're not going to have quite as much energy to fuel those thunderstorms. So with that, we're only going to have marginal risk, but the threat's still there for some severe weather, and then just general thunder the further north you go, where the instability or energy for storms will not quite be there. So mainly going to be central Georgia, but we'll be monitoring conditions to see if this will encroach further north during the day too, but mainly a central Georgia event for now. Go back and look at the wind probabilities. Don't want you to get caught up too much in the percentages here, just mainly the area. And so for the winds, highest threat, again, that Columbus to Macon area. And more importantly, as we get into tornado here, and I'll zoom in on this one, it's that same area, Columbus to Macon, for the tornado threat. Again, don't focus on those percentages because those are actually pretty high for this time of year as we get into this air mass that's moving through, so, and the storm system. So 5% does mean quite a bit for these areas. And in fact, we're even looking at some of the parameters we've been looking at tonight with the new model guidance coming in. Could be some longer track tornadoes, just a slight chance of that, but still watching the possibility for that. A few of those stronger tornadoes possible in this area hatched in the 5%. So again, Columbus to Macon and then eastward are those primary threats. You can see the tornado threat cuts off pretty fast as you go further north. Again, just not enough energy to support it at this time, but we'll be monitoring it closely. If we go back and we look at the rainfall, that's not going to be all that big a deal with this event. Here is the days 1 and 2 rainfall. I can zoom in for that for you as well. You can see we're just not expecting a whole lot, mainly going to be central Georgia again, where it'll be a half, maybe 3/4 of an inch, and getting upwards maybe an inch as you get into the higher elevations across far north Georgia. But overall, this is not going to be enough to produce much of any issues for us. It's just going to be a fast-moving system. So main threats are going to be for the tornadoes that we're going to be watching for central Georgia, Columbus to Macon, and then again that wind threat as well. So take a look at some of these individual models here that we're getting in, some of the newer guidance, and kind of take you through and show you the differences. And this is kind of what we do when we look at it on a daily basis. So as we get in through tonight, so this is like midnight to 1 a.m., we'll start to see some of the rain showers moving into the Atlanta metro. Again, not any thunder expected with this initially, just going to be some light to moderate rain as it moves through. Take this on through the morning hours, so this is about 8 a.m. You can see the rain transitions to far north Georgia. Again, going to be mostly rain with this initial system, but as we look back into Portions of Mississippi and Louisiana, we're starting to get organized here, and this is what we're going to be concerned about. That's going to be moving into our area later in the day. It's going to be fairly rapidly evolving. So as we get around the noontime hour, here we can start to see this line of thunderstorms starting to develop, moving through central Alabama. It's going to be during this time we're going to be watching for storms. A lot of times this guidance is a little slow, and we'll start to see activity moving in even before this. So anytime right around midday, we're going to start looking for this central Georgia area. So anywhere, Columbus, maybe a few counties northward there, start looking for thunderstorms to move into that area. These are some of the different models, so I can highlight some different ones, and you can see kind of the difference in those. So this particular one is showing activity a little bit later with the thunderstorms coming in. So this would be the 2 to 3 o'clock time frame with the activity coming in. And then yet another one, this one matches up pretty well with that, so 2 to 3 o'clock. So we're going to start looking for it around noon, but it could be anywhere 2 to 3 as this activity moves through. And then as we take it on through, you can see how the strongest of the thunderstorms there, continuing to move through central Georgia, kind of clears the Atlanta metro pretty quickly there, and then is mainly a central Georgia event. And looking at about 6 o'clock during the evening, this activity starting to push out then, and things tapering off except for some light rain over far north Georgia. So as far as the severe threat and the severe thunderstorms and the tornadoes, we can show you some of the guidance we look at, and this actually shows pretty well the demarcation of where we would expect possible tornado and not. So this is just showing, this is called our significant tornado parameter, and so this is just kind of showing the area. Don't want you to focus on really what it is, just the areas here. And so this is showing the areas most favorable for tornado development. Doesn't mean we're definitely going to get them, but it just means the area is most favored. And so as we get into that 2 to 3 o'clock time frame, like we talked about, here's this area jumping up here in the greens and yellows, getting close to our southern point of our forecast area. So down here, getting pretty close to affecting that Columbus area as we get into 2 and 3 o'clock. And then that activity pushes due east, so it's pretty close to Macon. We'd be watching very closely for some of this activity, some of the stronger thunderstorms, wind damage, and tornadoes in that Macon area as well, and then points southward. Certainly as we get into these areas down in Toombs County, we're going to be watching that late in the afternoon into the early evening around 6 o'clock for that activity moving there. So this would be for the tornado development primarily. This is for the stronger potential here. I can even show you this, and it shows roughly those same areas, Columbus to right around Macon, and then for the remainder of our southeast portion of our forecast area as we get into 5 and 6 o'clock during the afternoon. So that's kind of what we're looking at for this particular system. We'll probably try to give an update in an email either overnight or early in the morning prior to the activity moving in. So you guys stay safe out there with the corona, and hate to add all this with the tornadoes as well, but hopefully we'll get through it unscathed tomorrow as well. So thanks for your time. Y'all have a great night.